So this is the part where I said it gets even worse. So when we think all this stuff is done and I can just complain about this chick all day long, whatever, I can go in on it. I ain't even go in on her in this video. And there's no need for me to do all that. At least right now. But then I saw this. First off, make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But I've actually been trying to talk about this topic for at least 2 to 3 years, at least on YouTube, right? I want to know, because a year ago, maybe a little bit more than a year ago at this point, but a year ago, I was talking about the chick that was promoting WWE 2K24. And when she was sitting there caping about how Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair were on a certain type of cover of WWE 2K, she openly admitted that she does not play the games. That was a huge problem I had with that. That's when I knew, okay, the virtue signaling is at an all-time high at this point. Well, guess what? It got much, much worse. This is the perfect opportunity for me to talk about this topic because we have a full display right here. Perfect example of what not to do and how not to be when you're talking about being a wrestling fan or a fan of anything, to be honest, but you're going to see it. Whoever this Mara chick is, don't know, don't care. This lady is a straight demon. And not in a good way. Well, I don't think there's ever a good demon, but you know what I mean. We're looking at a screenshot from what Andy Hartwell put up a couple days ago, where she says, that's 2 hours and 17 minutes I'll never get back after watching the movie Sinners. Now, as you guys know, I don't share that same opinion, but I did laugh when I saw this screenshot because I get it. Sinners was a good movie. It's not the next best thing. It's not one of the best horror movies of all time or nothing like that. So when I saw this, I didn't think anything of it. I was like, okay, Andy Hartwell, people are, they're going to post whatever kind of opinions, whatever. But then it gets interesting. And when I say it gets interesting, again, not in a good way. This Morrow demon decides to tweet out, screenshot this and then tweet it out. Just like that, in all caps, by the way. Just like that, your TNA career is shit. Really? Really? I take issue with this for 2 reasons. For 2 personal reasons, actually. One, I don't know if you guys know this. This may be a shocker. But I'm black. So I don't like, and as you guys know, if anybody's watched any of my videos longer than a year, you'll know that I don't play that stuff. I don't play around when it comes to all the race bait and stuff like that. Like, of course, we like making jokes, blah, blah, whatever. But at the end of the day, I don't use my race as leverage. I don't use it as a clutch. I don't use it as anything. I said a clutch, didn't I? As a crutch. I don't. So let's get that out of the way now. And then the second reason why I take issue with this and why I take it personally is because I'm a wrestling fan. And I've been one ever since I could walk or talk. So at the end of the day, when I'm looking at this tweet and I see that this chick tweets this out and she's saying, just like that, you're a TNA career, and you're basing it off of what? You're basing someone's wrestling career and hoping that their wrestling career fails off of what? Oh, a movie review. Not even a review. She didn't even give a full-blown review. Her reaction, her opinion on a movie. Andy Hartwell didn't put out a full-blown paragraph. She didn't put out a video. She didn't do any clips. She just literally said, that's 2 hours. That's 2.5 hours. I'll never get back. And you decide to crash out on her. Which makes it even worse, by the way. But we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that because it gets way worse than this. I have been a part of fandoms. And just hear me out real quick. I've been a part of fandoms that have been infiltrated and destroyed and left for dead because people like this have done it. Because we let people like this into it. Now, I'm not saying we should gatekeep who's in a part of a wrestling fandom or and whatnot. I'm not saying all that. But what I'm saying is some people just don't need that loud of a fucking voice. This bitch is one of them. And as we go into the comment section, because we will be going to the comment section so you can just see how delusional and how deranged and how fucked up wrestling fans really are. And not just wrestling fans, just people in general. This is and this ain't the first time I've seen it, but this is the first time I've actually sat back and said, bro, I think we have a real problem when it comes to wrestling fandom. We've seen the stalkers. Again, every avenue of entertainment has those kind of fans, right? The stalkers, the weird ones. This one takes the cake. Because like I said, you think this is bad? It gets worse. It's really the fact that you have these very same people crying racism, misogyny, homophobia, all this other stuff, all this other BS, right? In order to get their way. And I say this in almost every video I have. It's like playing in a sandbox when you're kids. You're playing in a sandbox with your friends, playing around all whatever. And then you have the one weird kid that walks over, right? Can I play with you guys? Yeah, sure, because why the fuck not? Why would we say you can't come play with us? Of course, we're open. We're all here to have fun. But then that weird kid decides to change the rules. Then that weird kid wants to say that they're getting picked on or say that they're getting treated unfairly or saying they want to play, what's the word for it? This is one word that I always use. I can't remember what. Oh, that's right. Victim. That's what they do. They play victim. You see, to these people, they can't let the wrestler just be a wrestler. They have to mean something more. Everything that they say. And this is what really baffles me, too, because before anybody says, well, Corn, you bash wrestlers all the time for their personal opinions. And well, yeah. But at the same time, I'm also not cutting the TV off on them every time. I'm also not telling any subscribers that I have or anybody that I know or any other wrestling fans, hey, you shouldn't be watching so-and-so because they had this kind of opinion. No. Now, I've had people tell me, especially most recently, the CM Punk stuff that happened a couple years ago, where CM Punk was out there at AEW talking about support trans kids and all this other stuff. I made, 2 or 3 videos about that? A lot of fucking people watched them too, by the way. But after that, did I come on here and say that we'll never talk about CM Punk ever again? Did I come on here and say that we'll never watch another CM Punk match ever again? I've had people tell me that they stopped watching AEW after that, and that AEW lost a fan after that. They almost lost. I mean, there's a couple other reasons why they lost me. But at the end of the day, I've never come on here and said we have to boycott this or we have to stand up against this and do this and do. No, you think for yourself. I'm here to give you information. I'm here to give you my own opinion, most importantly. My own opinion. I'm not here to virtual signal for you guys. These people are. That is why this chick has 2,900 followers on Twitter and has a blue check. You don't get a blue check for that. That doesn't get you a blue check. There's only one way this chick was able to get a blue check. She paid for it. Why did she pay to get a blue check? To get seen, to have her voice heard. You see where I'm going with this? And now we find her vicariously, promiscuously. Somehow we find her in this situation to now where she's calling a wrestler out. But wait, there's more. This is the point where I have a problem to where blacks just can't take no for an answer. I don't know why. I don't know why us black people, we can't take no for an answer, but we just cannot do it, man. And I don't even know if this chick right here is black, but you can see just for yourself what she says. So she says, I'm black and I'm not offended by it. Trope, ... Okay. She says, the original post was stating that her undermining tone was off when expressing her dislike, because this movie is exploring black culture. Hence, word of mouth made people check this movie out. I will agree with that last part where it says word of mouth made people check the movie out, because I even went to go see the movie because of word of mouth. But let's not forget, just on a side note, let's not forget what all these Ryan Coogler fucking dick riders. Let's not forget, this movie only made $230 million. Yes, off of a, $180 million budget or whatever the fuck. But the way people are talking about this movie, you'd think this movie made $1 billion or even $500 million. More like $250 million. But again, neither here nor there. Just wanted to put that in as a side note. But she goes on to say her reaction to it was tone deaf, plain and simple. So another problem that I have. How is this tone deaf? How is someone basing their own opinion, putting their own opinion out there on social media, tone deaf? Really? And undermining. She says she had an undermining tone, saying that she wasted 2.5 hours. This is the double standards that I've always talked about when it comes to any other race than being black. And this has always been the number one problem when I talk about other black people. They always want to tell you what you can and can't say as somebody who's not black. But this person goes on to say, usually when black films have a theme like this and it gets wildly popular, the microaggressions and the downplaying, the ridicule is always prominent. Really? Or is it that people just have an opinion about a movie? But see, y'all don't want to hear that. This is what's protected Ryan Coogler for so long, or the Ryan Cooglers of the world for so long, like Viola Davis and all of them, is that whenever you critique anything about a movie that they're in, or critique any movie that's predominantly black, this is what they're going to fucking go to. The microaggressions, the downplaying, like the victim mentality is so annoying, man. And I wish that we could stop it. I wish that I could just be a normal dude, just average guy, just enjoy movies and enjoy all the entertainment and not have to fucking, and just block all that shit out. But for some reason, I can't. For some reason, when I see shit like this, I'm just like, bro, you guys are so insufferable. You guys are so miserable in your own fucking lives. You decide to do shit like this. You have nothing to do with your entire fucking life but to shit on someone else's fucking opinion because they say they didn't like a movie. Now you want to comfort their head. Now you want to comfort their career. Now you want to put harm on their career that they worked hard for. Was Indy racist? No. I'm pretty sure anybody could fucking tell you that. Was it microaggressive? For sure. But education must happen. No one is canceling lady. Education? This is another problem I have when people say educated. Educated. These are the same people that are sitting here crying for reparations for shit they didn't go through. This is the same fucking people that are sitting here crying about, well, why can't we beat up cops and they don't do anything back to us? Gee, I wonder why. What? Do you know any human that you would be able to physically harm and not get anything done to you or retaliated back? You fucking idiot. These are the same people that want to get violent whenever you tell the fucking truth. And then you want to tell an entire race of people what they can or can't say because they don't look like you. And then here we go again with the, so we're back to this Mara chick, right? Somebody decided to DM her and she screenshotted it, which whatever. I have no problem. I'll do that too sometimes. You DM me, I'm probably going to screenshot it and not even respond back. Just put it out there and make you like a fucking idiot that you are. The screenshot says, nobody has to like a movie just because it's a predominantly black film. Facts. I've been saying this since the beginning of time. There's this thing called an opinion. Hope this helps. Also, fuck Palestine. Now, I don't know shit about the whole Palestine shit, but I do see all the flags, and she also has her pronouns in here, so you can already tell she's a weirdo. And probably has identity issues, or I should say most definitely has identity issues with all those damn flags in there. So, she's probably a mental illness patient, yes. Probably deals with mental health and all that other stuff. Of course. I mean, you could have seen that a mile away from her responding the way she responds to people. So that's one thing. But let's go ahead and move over to where she says this to someone who says, again, they have a Palestine thing. I think that's a Palestine flag. I don't fucking know. I don't know nothing about these other countries, nor do I really give a shit. But she says, this person says, ma'am, it's time to develop a personality of your own. I see no lies. I see no lies. And this chick says, funnier ass quotes me then blocks me. This is my personality. I fight for black voices and rights online and off. What? You fight for what? I'm sorry, Demon. My voice is just as loud as yours. My verse can be heard just as much as your voice. What makes you think that you have the power to fight for black voices and rights? What rights? Because the way it looks to me is that you're trying to take a right away from a human being for stating her own opinion, not about politics, not about anything real life, about a fucking movie. Can't make me feel bad for something I found distasteful. Again, you're saying that a woman's opinion about a movie, a wrestler's opinion about a movie, a random wrestler, by the way, like who the fuck was even thinking of Andy Hartwell? Like, I saw the screenshot, I just moved over with it. I just kept scrolling. I was like, that's funny. Kept scrolling. Again, this is coming from somebody that actually liked the movie Sinners. I still thought it was some stuff in there that people claim wasn't in there. And I still thought it was pandering to blacks the way that, well, Ryan Coogler does. But at least he tried to be less obvious about it this time around. But, you know, your boy got it. But to me, race baiting, especially as a wrestling fan or even in a wrestling space, race baiting is a weird flex, fam. I'm going to just be honest. So please sit down and shut up. So this is the part where I said it gets even worse. So when we think all this stuff is done and I can just bitch and complain about this chick all day long, whatever, I can go in on it. I ain't even go in on her in this video. And there's no need for me to do all that. At least right now. But then I saw this. She says, I just had a conversation with Indy, and I appreciate her for apologizing and reaching out and acknowledging after talking to a friend that her post was indeed distasteful. So let's stop right there. Indy Hartwell did a walk back of her opinion on a film after she saw it. Because, I'll go back again. I appreciate her for apologizing and reaching out and acknowledging after talking to a friend. The proverbial walk you into a back room and give you a stern talking to until you change your opinion, until you change your mind, until you change your view. Fam, what? And then saying that her post was indeed distasteful. So this Mara bitch learned absolutely fucking nothing from this altercation whatsoever. Learned not a damn thing from this. All you have to understand is that the movie was cultural, or the movie has cultural significance to black history, minus the vampires. And this is why I made the video about the movie Sinners the way I did. This is exactly why opinions like mine on the movie are going to be vastly different from anyone else who saw the movie, whether they liked it or didn't like it. I kindly asked, she says, as I told her as well, I kindly asked her to rewatch the movie. Oh my God. No fucking way, dude. I kindly asked her to rewatch the movie. Though the lens that we as black peoples, Jesus Christ, Not only is she a demon, not only is she a race baiter, she's fucking illiterate. This is the problem, y'all. This is why we have the problem that we have now. And because we're starting to see these 2000s babies, and now I guess you could say 2005 babies, mid-2000s babies, become adults now. Guaranteed she's one of them. The biggest problem with them is that they had an iPad put in front of them at 3 years old, if not younger. And their parents just didn't fucking raise them. Who speaks like this? Idiots speak like this. That's who. That we as black peoples are still oppressed as they also were in a time period. How? How are we oppressed? This is the problem. You can't stop calling yourself a wrestling fan. Just stop it. Stop calling yourself a fucking wrestling fan if you do this. If you're still saying this in 2025. Where, let's not forget, at least half, if not most, of the champions right now, May 7th, right now, today, this very second, WWE, most of their champions, at least on the main roster, are people of color. Get the absolute fuck out of here, man. This chick ain't no fan. Not even close. I mean, you could already tell just from her bio, but whatever. This chick says, are still oppressed. Black peoples are still oppressed as they also were in a time period of the movie was set. The movie was set in the 1930s. So if you can do 2 plus 2 and you get 4, then you will be able to see through all this virtue signaling BS. If you get anything other than 4, you will probably believe every single word this bitch says. You don't have to like the movie, but you also don't have to negatively speak about it, especially when the message of the movie is clear as day that racism is still prevalent. It just has changed forms. Wow. What she's trying to bring to wrestling is grievance politics. That's what she's trying to do. The victim card is written all over this. This whole paragraph right here tells me, I can't speak for anybody else that reads this or watches this, but it tells me she's the problem. Not Indy Hartwell, who had an opinion on a movie. But like I've said before, wrestling fans are soft as shit. But the wrestlers themselves are even softer. Because if I'm Indy Hartwell, I'm doubling down. I'm saying, look, fam, the movie was bad. I don't care about your race baiting shit. You're not going to try and get me. This is a gotcha moment. This made her career. You don't believe me? If you go to this bitch's Twitter right now, she has an entire tweet thanking all of her 2,900 followers for helping her get through all this BS with Indy Hartwell. Thank you to all my 2,900 followers on Twitter. I paid for the blue check mark, by the way. That's what you're going to get. And then saying that racism changed forms from 90 years ago. Get the fuck out of here, man. When are y'all going to stop? Seriously. You make Indy Hartwell apologize for not liking it. Having her talk to a friend, and then on top of that, after you guys came to a quote-unquote understanding, you decide to tell Indy Hartwell to rewatch the movie that she did not like. I'm not here to defend Indy Hartwell, because obviously she's a big girl. She can defend herself. I'm not even here to support her after this, because once you bend the knee, You ain't getting no support out of me. You bend the knee. All right. We know what kind of person you are then. Like I said, wrestling's full of virtue signaling people and all this other stuff. Like, that's not new to me. What is new to me is when they bend the knee to quote unquote wrestling fans and people that don't even claim to be fans. Like, if I'm Indy Hartwell, why the fuck am I even talking to you if you ain't talking to me about wrestling? Why am I talking to you if you ain't even... I didn't hear all this outcry for any of my matches. Ever. But yet you want to tweet out displeasure about somebody's opinion and then relate it to their actual career and entertainment and say that they shouldn't be there and claim and pretty much insinuate they shouldn't even have a job in TNA. Yeah, you are the absolute bottom of the barrel scumbag piece of shit when it comes to wrestling fandom. You shouldn't even be a part of wrestling fandom. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't even be a part of any kind of fandom until you get your mind right. And the only way that's going to happen, it seems like at this point, is a fucking loony bin. Let's just be honest. Yeah, so for Indy Hartwell to be talked to by a fan about her opinions on a movie, to me and to be quote unquote educated, is a huge slap in the face. Not just as a wrestler, from wrestler to fan or anything like that, as a human being, fam. To be told that we had to educate her on the cultural significance of this movie. Nah, fam, y'all did that shit yourselves, man. I watched this movie and I was like, okay. It's an okay movie. It's good. It's not great. It's not terrible. But I see it for what it is. And I saw the isms that Ryan Coogler tried to sprinkle in there and tried to hide in there. And then tried to claim that, oh, it's not about that. When clearly, the audience that you were pandering to thinks the exact opposite of what you were promoting. Something tells me you kind of already knew that, Ryan. At the end of the day, the fight for this is not over simply because the Indy Hartwells of the world exist. Meaning, they're going to bend the knee. You have your people that, and you're going to have the bendings of the knee, or the bending of the knees, I should say. God, dog, man, I need to go to bed. You're going to have those happen, right? You're going to have the Indy Hartwells of the world. You're going to have the people that are going to tweet stuff out, and then because there's some outcry because fake wrestling fans want to cry about it, they're going to delete the tweet. Then that causes a whole nother thing, right? Not necessarily the Streisand effect, not to that extent, because they're not being censored. They're technically censoring themselves because they're afraid of the backlash. That's all I'm saying. That's not something Korn does. But since we're on the subject of this Mara chick, and she's talking about being a voice of black people and fighting for rights and voices and for people to be heard, for blacks to be heard, and blah blah blah. You're not really fighting for it. You technically paid for it on Twitter, but that's a whole nother issue. And then she decides to retweet this out. Says, y'all really hate when black women speak on shit that they are passionate about when it comes to their culture. The non-African Americans really get uncomfortable when it's brought up. Specifically, the IWC. No. And then you got this retard down here saying speak on it. Stop saying you're a fan. First of all. Second of all, stop mixing up and confusing passion with virtue signaling. There's a complete difference between the two. But this is what they do. Like, I wish I could just be a fly on the wall sometimes of these weirdos in their homes just to see like how they think. Like, I think I'm going to be a wrestling fan today. I think I'm just going to start. And cool, good for you. If you want to start watching wrestling right now and then become a fan, cool, good for you. But these people are so insufferable. These people are so miserable in their lives. They literally go out to find these fandoms to destroy them. And you want to feel included so bad that once you are finally included, or either A, you're finally included and then you destroy it, or B, your voice isn't heard because maybe your opinion is, I don't know, shit. Or maybe you don't know wrestling. Or maybe you just don't like it, which you didn't from the jump anyway. And then you just start doing all these outrageous, putting out all these outrageous tweets, doing all this outrageous stuff when it comes to the IW. And again, I ain't a part of the fucking IWC. I never claimed that shit, but there's some fucking weirdos. But when you go out of your way to do this, because it's one thing to, have an opinion, whatever. Like, she could have very well said what she said or said something that said, oh, man, that's not a good opinion, or, oh, man, and you're fucked up or whatever. I probably still would have made a video about it, but I probably wouldn't be going as ham as I am right now. A full-blown deep dive into this chick's fucking all the comments and stuff. I'm going to say this. You cannot be a fan if you don't like the product. If you've never liked the product, first of all. Hear me out. Right now, I am very dissatisfied with what WWE is doing. Don't get me wrong. Triple H has dropped the ball since Royal Rumble. That doesn't mean that I never liked the product. That doesn't mean that I'm not a huge wrestling fan. That doesn't mean that I'm not passionate about it. I'm not going to sit here and push agendas for it. I'm not going to sit here and virtue signal for it. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, why do we have a Mexican United States champion, but we don't have a black one? Or why do we have a white cruiserweight champion, but we don't have a black one? It's not me. That's not what I do. I've never done that. Never said that. Never will. Another retweet from this Mara chick. Again, I went through her fucking... I don't give a shit. I went through her fucking shit. Because I'm like, you're going to talk all this shit and you're going to put Indy Hartwell in this situation. And then later on to find out Indy Hartwell's a dumbass too for bending a knee. I'm going to go through your shit and find some other stuff. And show people that you're not a real wrestling fan. You're just here to virtue signal. I.e. this tweet that she retweeted earlier this week. Every wrestler who works Ring of Honor does both shows except Athena. Something tells me from this GIF and the first sentence of this tweet, I can tell you where it's going. They promote everyone from Ring of Honor except Athena. Really? Her being the only big star willing to carry that show isn't enough for me. If I don't get some answers right now, I'm immediately going to because she's black. Are you guys tired yet? Are you guys exhausted yet from this shit? And I've been doing this I've been dealing with this stupid shit for at least 7-8 years. If not longer than that. I remember back when New Day finally lost the tag team titles. Again, legendary run by them, by the way. Took literally nothing and made it everything when it came to that trio, right? If anybody remembers when they first started, it was rough. Nobody was... I wasn't even fucking with it. I was like, yo, what the fuck kind of shit is this? New Day, when they first lost those tag team titles that they held for like almost 2 years, about a year and a half or so, you know how many people came out? This is the first time I ever saw this stuff on Twitter. This is way back. I want to say like 2017 at this 16 or 17 at this point. Almost 10 years ago. People on Twitter came out and were saying that I was racist. People came out and said that Kofi Kingston losing to Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship was racist. And I try to say, no, it wasn't, because I was saying before he even won the title at WrestleMania, it's going to be a great WrestleMania moment. Same thing as Jey Uso. Great WrestleMania moment. But after that, is he really going to be considered are we really going to look at him as a world champion though? Or are we just going to be buying our time sitting here waiting for him to lose a title because he's not a world champion. He doesn't look like a world champion. It has nothing to do with his fucking skin color. Bobby Lashley looks like a world champion. How many world titles has he won in WWE? So don't even start that BS. But this right here shows me that you need to stop talking about wrestling because you don't know what you're talking about at all. And need I say more? Another retweet from Mara. Again, I'm saying her name like I know her. I don't know this bitch. I don't want to know this bitch. Gen Z queer icons, our community is in good hands. She retweeted this. Just want to let y'all know that. And then for the same woman who claimed to be a voice for black people and our rights. So this is what she's standing for. This right here. This is what she's fighting for when she says that she's fighting for the voices and the rights of blacks. Get the fuck out of here, man. You see, the problem is when you do all this fake kumbaya stuff, it doesn't work. No one believes it but the other people that are in a circle with you. It's funny how, after all this time, this chick has garnered a following off of bullying a wrestler into bending a knee and retracting her statements on a movie. Not just statements, her opinion on a movie. It is a wild, wild world that we live in and a very even wilder timeline that we live in. Because you're letting someone who professionally wrestles let a complete fucking idiot nobody skew their opinion on a movie that they now feel like they shouldn't have even been a part of. They shouldn't even been able to go watch. That's how bad this looks. I don't know, man. I've spent enough time on this. Let me know what you guys think, man. It's just all this fake kumbaya stuff when it comes to just the Sinners movie. It's blown way out of proportion. Now you got people literally being bullied on it, being forced to it. Not even forced, because nobody forced Indy Hartwell to retract her statement or retract her opinion. But pretty much being bullied into a corner to retract your opinion, or else the woke mob will go after her. So, like I said, man, no love lost here when it comes to Indy Hartwell, because she still ended up bowing down. But let me know what you guys think, man. Hit that like, that subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know in the comments. It's your boy Corn, and I am disappointed.